Diane in Denmark here. I don't know if you can see from the candle beside me, but it is the 23rd of December, which for those of us in Denmark means it is Lille Juleaften, which means Little Christmas Eve. Now, during the month of December, I've been sharing with you our Danish Christmas, how we do Christmas in Denmark. And you already know that the whole month of December is taken up with baking Christmas biscuits. You've seen me making pebernuller, the little pepper nuts, the one that we play the game of mouse. It's all in the playlist for Christmas. You've seen me over at my friend Vibike's house where we were showing you Danish paper crafts. I was talking the other day about our Christmas tree and the traditions involved with that. You've seen me making Christmas Danish donuts. And on a side note, that's why I'm in here today, because my husband is in the kitchen baking about 100 Christmas donuts. And I thought today I would just give you a little talk through of how Christmas is for us in Denmark. So today is Lille Juleaften, which is Little Christmas Eve. And of course, we have lots of traditions associated with that. It's actually the biggest day of the year for people travelling. We had friends and their kids over at our place last night. If you saw on Instagram, you'll have seen some of the food. And they are travelling to Jutland, the mainland of Denmark today. And this is the busiest day of the year for travel. People are taking trains and ferries and cars and bikes. So this is the biggest travel day of the year. Now, for us, here in our home, it's the 23rd. My husband's making iceswimmer, the Danish donuts, and that's what we will be having for dinner tonight. We'll probably have something quite simple, probably rye bread sandwiches, and then we will eat our body weight in iceswimmer and probably have some glug with it, warm mulled wine. And then the other thing is we will put all the Christmas presents underneath the tree. Now, I explained to you in a video the other day all about our tree and the decorations and the hearts and the birds and the flags. And it's a very open tree. We don't, probably a Scandinavian thing, we like our open spaces and things are very simple. So we will be putting the presents underneath the tree. And what else do we do today on the 23rd? It's just, the other thing is something I did this morning. I made risengryll. Now, I also did a video about that, and you may have seen it. Which is basically Danish rice pudding, and we make it today, and then tomorrow it's made into risalamande, which is our traditional Danish dessert. So I've already done that. The kids have eaten some risengryll today. The rest of it is cooling in the basement, and I'll be finishing that off tomorrow. And then tomorrow, the 24th, if you're watching these videos in 2017, today's Saturday, tomorrow's Sunday, and Christmas for us is tomorrow, Sunday, the 24th. Now, we'll have a nice leisurely breakfast, and lunch will be something fairly light. We'll be having a Danish Christmas lunch. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. And then in the evening, around 6 o'clock, that's really when Christmas starts for us. We'll change into our nice clothing. And I've told you here before, it's dark, pitch black by about 3:30 in the afternoon. So at 6 o'clock at night, most families will be sitting down to have their Christmas dinner. Now, Christmas dinner in Denmark can be one of 2 or 3 things. We always have duck, roast duck. Some families have goose, and some families have both duck and roast pork. In my husband's family, I'm Scottish, my husband's Danish, and in my husband's family, they always eat duck, so that's become our tradition. And the duck, and there's no starter, there's no starter, in Britain we would have maybe prawn cocktail and then the turkey. In Denmark, there's no starter, and we have duck, and we have it together with 2 different types of potatoes. Boiled potatoes, just plain bog standard boiled potatoes, and the other ones are smaller potatoes which are cooked and then peeled, and then you heat up equal amounts of sugar and butter in a frying pan, and then you fry them. so they get that caramelized coating on them. So we have boiled potatoes and caramelized potatoes, and then along with that you have, of course, the sauce from the duck, which you add a lot of cream to, or butter, makes it very, very rich and delicious. And we have it with hot red cabbage, you know, pickled red cabbage. You can either make your own or buy it in jars. I've tried making it several times and the family aren't that bothered about it, so we generally just buy a good jar of pickled cabbage, and then we add some extra things to it, like, you know, oranges and some spices. And the last thing that we have, which is a bit strange, are potato chips, you know, just normal potato chips, not, you know, flavoured with sour cream and onion or anything like that. And those are just heated slightly in the oven and served with the dish. And the stuffing for the duck is generally prunes and apple. And I've actually got some apples which I kept from the garden this year, so that's what we will be using. So that is the main course, is the duck. That's what we're having. And then after that we serve the riz à la main. And if you saw the video about that, you know all about riz à la main. It's basically cold rice pudding, which is mixed up with whipped cream and chopped almonds and some vanilla and sugar. And then we hide a whole blanched almond in the rice pudding, and then we serve it at the table with hot cherry sauce. And then when we serve the rice pudding, whoever finds the whole blanched almond wins a prize, which is called Mandelgeo. Now, I showed you our Mandelgeo. It's already wrapped up and I've got it in the dining room along with their songbooks. And the traditional prize is a marzipan pig. And I showed you that one in the video. So if you've never seen what a marzipan pig looks like, you can go and have a look at the video. Now, that is the dinner, which normally starts about 6 o'clock. And then we're finished by sometime around 7 o'clock. And then after that, we come in here into the living room, and we, as I explained to you, we move the tree into the middle of the room, and then as a family, we hold hands around the tree. Make sure you don't have a tree that's far too big, because otherwise, you know, if there's only a few of you there, you won't be able to reach around it. And we hold hands and we sing, and we go around the Christmas tree. And we generally sing 2 or 3 Danish songs, and because we are a mixed family, a Scottish-Danish family, we also sing a British Christmas carol. And some of the Danish songs can be really long, you know, like 12 verses. So in some families, you know, they can be there for an hour dancing around the Christmas tree, but it's really good fun and it's a good tradition. And you know, when Mum and Dad used to come and visit us, they joined in and they thought it was really funny. And anyway, Dad's no longer with us, but he enjoyed that tradition a lot. So so you have your dinner, you dance around the tree, and then what about the gifts? Because we'll be putting the gifts underneath the tree tonight. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. I can never remember what that means. Does it mean that we've got visitors coming, or I'm going to be rich? Goodness knows. Anyway, then once dinner's over and we've sung and danced around the tree, then we open the presents. Now, opening gifts here is not like it was when I was growing up as a child in Scotland. In Scotland, you get your gifts on the morning of the 25th, and Santa has left the gifts normally at the end of your bed, you know, in some kind of sack, and I would sit in my bed and, you know, open all the presents. In Denmark, we take the presents, the gifts, one by one, and we watch as everybody opens their presents. And it's quite a strange thing at first, but I've really grown to love it, because you see which gifts everybody in the family gets, and you get to see the excitement of them opening the gift. And also, it takes a long time to open the gift. So, you know, we can be there for a couple of hours, but we are well prepared because, you know, you have your glass of wine or mulled wine. The kids have got some kind of fancy drink. And, you know, you've got some homemade sweets or cookies that you have made to keep you going. So it's a long drawn out process, but it's a really nice thing because you know, the kids will, you know, scramble under the tree and say, okay, here's a gift for Granny. And we all look at Granny opening her gift, and we can ooh and ah, and then, oh, here's a gift for Grandad, and here's a gift for little sister, or here's a gift for the dog. And it's just a really nice way, and I think, to really enjoy the moment, to enjoy opening up that gift. And also, you know, in a way, I love seeing other people opening their gifts more than enjoy getting a gift myself. I just love that kind of, you know, look on their faces when they open it up and what's in the box. And so that takes sometimes a couple of hours on the 24th. And then after that, what do we do after that? Gosh, basically that's the end of the evening, because it's a long evening. You know, we start at 6 o'clock and then we start opening it. And then generally we just sit, and there's nothing that we watch on the television. You know, when I lived in the UK, you know, you would watch, or especially, you know, growing up as a child, you would watch the Doctor Who Christmas special. There's nothing that we watch in the TV in the evening. It's not a traditional thing in Denmark to see anything in the evening, though I missed a bit, because actually in the afternoon, at 3 o'clock, on the main Danish channel is a program called Disney Show, and it is Disney cartoons, and this is a very special one that they show every year. I'll need to check up how many years they've been showing it, but it's probably about 30 plus. They do the same thing in Sweden, our neighbours in Sweden, and it's called Donald Duck Wishes You a Wonderful Christmas, and it's the same cartoons which are shown every year. And the Danes can do all the lines, you know, they know the lines off by heart. And one is Bambi, you know, on the ice, and Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, and it's just a really nice thing to do. Even if you're not a child, the Danes will be watching the Donald Duck cartoon thing at 3 o'clock. So that's it for the 24th. And a lot of you have asked, well, you know, if you celebrate on the 24th, what happens on the 25th, you know, on Christmas Day? Well, it involves an awful lot of food. And on Christmas Day, we will get up, we'll sleep in as long as we can, have a nice long lie. I'll be doing my routines, you know, getting dressed to shoes when I do get up. Oh, look, indoor lace-up shoes. And on the 25th, that's traditionally the day that we have the Danish Christmas lunch. Now, if you've ever been to Denmark, you will know that a Danish lunch is a big deal. There are lots of rules, or unwritten rules, of how to go through the lunch. And generally, if you've gone to a lunch restaurant in Denmark, you will know that you'll be served, you know, when you sit down, there's either 2 plates there, or you'll be served two separate dishes. And we start off always with fish. The fish is always served first, and that can normally be something like hand-peeled prawns, maybe some smoked salmon, and the thing that we love to eat, which we'll be eating a lot of this Christmas, is marinated herring. Now you can get herring, you know, there's marinated herring, there is herring in tomato sauce, herring in curry sauce. Our favourite way to serve it is just marinated herring, just quite plain, with egg mayonnaise. That's a traditional thing. And then once you've eaten your fish course, then you change plates, so you don't transfer the taste of the fish onto the next course. And you'll probably change your cutlery as well, because you don't want anything smelling of herring on the next lot. And then you change plates, and then you move on to the meat courses. And the meat courses can be hot liver patty piled up with crunchy bacon and cooked mushrooms. We'll be having that. It can be roast pork with some red cabbage. It can be a special type of ring sausage called medisterpølse with red cabbage, and we will be having that. It can also be slices of cooked rolled pork, cold sliced rolled pork, with what is called in Danish Italian salad, which are basically peas and chopped carrots in a mayonnaise dressing. And what else? Oh, one of the other things that we'll be having are small tart cases. Those are called tarteletter, and they are traditionally filled with a mix of chicken in a sauce and asparagus. That's another thing that we'll be having. Oh gosh, what else have I missed? Oh, on the fish courses, I should have said, we also have fried fish topped with remoulade. Goodness, there are so many different things that you can have in a Danish lunch. What else am I missing? And then of course there are the cheeses, some really old smelly cheese called gamle ole, where you pour some cognac or rum over it, and we have the normal Danbo cheese, which is just a milder sliced cheese, which you would top with rings of pepper, yellow pepper or red pepper. And I'm sure I'm missing plenty more, though they'll come to me as soon as I finish making this video, I'm sure. And traditionally at the end of a Danish Christmas lunch, there is no dessert as such. Normally it is, home-baked cookies, like the ones that I showed you, the pebernuller, or vanillekranse. Those are little rings of vanilla cookies. Homemade confect, that's homemade sweets. And that will be things made out of marzipan, dates filled with marzipan dipped in chocolate. We also do dried apricots dipped in chocolate. You can also get a marzipan log, and what we generally do is we roll out marzipan, we roll out Danish nougat, not Spanish nougat, it's a different type of thing. And then you roll it up, and then you cover the whole thing in chocolate, looks like a log, and then cover it with chopped pistachios, and then you slice it and makes really nice slices. And that's the kind of thing that you would be served at the end of the lunch with a good strong coffee. Now, to drink with lunch, for a Danish Christmas dinner, we drink red wine and probably a sweet wine along with the risalemang. When you're having a Danish Christmas lunch, with the cold cuts of meat or with the fish, generally we would have some beer. And of course there's Christmas beer available. It's called julebrug, and it comes out in the beginning of November. That's when the first snow falls, as it's called. And along with your beer, you might want to have a schnapps. Now, you don't drink your little glass of schnapps. You don't, down in a oneer. It's very, very potent stuff. And, I used to partake of it, when we used to have Danish lunch with my dearly departed Danish father-in-law. But I've come to realise that, after I have a Danish lunch, I'm okay if I have a beer along with my lunch or 2 beers. But if I start drinking schnapps after lunch, I just want to lie on the sofa, go to sleep, and that's me for the rest of the evening. So I no longer bother with the schnapps now. I just stick to the beer. And the beer here, there are so many different types of beer. When my dad was alive and they would come and spend Christmas with us, one of my Christmas gifts to him was a huge box or container with 24 different Danish beers in it, and it was like a beer advent calendar. There was a different one for every day. Now, my dad didn't manage to go through the 24 beers when he was with us, but we would help him with that. So anyway, Danish beer, a great variety of Danish beer, lots of small breweries starting up. I'm sure you've read about them. But anyway, that's what happens on the 25th. And after lunch on the 25th, on Christmas Day, we have a tradition that's been going in my husband's side of the family, which is we play a little game which is called pakkelej. Now, pakke means a package, and it's just a silly game that you can play. And often they play it at my daughter's school. That's what they always play at the end of term. They play it at high school. In my DS 17's class, they were playing it the other day when they had their traditional Danish lunch. And pakkelej, everybody in Denmark knows what pakkelej is. You wrap up a small present, nothing expensive, and you wrap up a couple of small gifts each. And then you put them all in the middle of the table, and you take some dice, you know, you can either play it with one dice or 2 dice, and you throw the dice and, you know, it goes around the table clockwise. If you throw a 6, you get to take a package, okay, and you put it in front of you. And the trick here is when you're packing your gifts is, you know, to pack them in lots of paper or make them look weird shapes, you know, even if it's a pack of toilet roll that you've wrapped up. They can be silly gifts as well, or practical things, or, you know, food gifts, whatever it is. So you play like this, and you set, here's my Flylady timer, you set the timer for 5 or 10 minutes, however long you want to play the game. And you play until all the gifts have been distributed. Now, once that is done, you set the timer again, and then what happens is you set it and you hide it so nobody can see how much time is left, but set it for something like 5 or 10 minutes. You put the timer to the side so nobody can see it. And then you throw the dice again, and if you get a 6, you're allowed to steal a parcel from somebody else and you get to keep it. But then, you know, if somebody else throws a 6, they can steal a parcel from you or from somebody else. So it's a really great game because, you know, you may be sitting with like 10 parcels at the end of the first round, and then, you know, 2 minutes later you've got 1 left or you've got none left. So when the timer goes off, that's it, the game stops, and you're allowed to open whatever parcels you have managed to accumulate during the game. It's a great little game, and in my besties family, they have come up with an idea where they take something, maybe a gift that they've received this year, or something that they don't use, something that can be recycled, something that found in a charity shop. And so this is their kind of new spin on it. It's you know, it's recycling, it's a sustainable idea, and it's really good fun because they have no idea what people are going to come with as gifts. So if you haven't tried Flylady before, it's a really great way to spend an afternoon, especially a dark and dreary afternoon. So anyway, let me see, oh gosh, I'm at the 22 minutes, and I have got some things to get on with because we want to get the presents underneath the tree, and I know my husband is almost finished with the able skewer and I am desperate to try them. So I just want to wish you a really lovely Christmas. Thanks for joining me on all these videos. If you're interested in how to make the able skewer or the peewerniller, or how to make the cones, or go and have a look at the playlist. It's all on there. And I just want to say thanks for joining me this year. I hope you have a lovely Christmas, and all I have left to say is go Jul, and see you very soon. Okay, Diane in Denmark, live long and prosper. See you very soon, and I hope you have a really Merry Christmas. Okay, go Jul.